Hi guys, welcome to this brand new episode. I'm here with Roel. Hey Roel, how are you?
Hello, good morning.
And so this week we thought it was a good time to actually catch up on all of the news, that all of the things that's been happening in the Wi-Fi space in the last few weeks. We haven't done one of these news episodes in a while, so a lot has been happening in the industry. So we that's what we're going to talk about today. And to kind of try to catch you guys up to speed in terms of the what's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Uh,
things that came out in the last few weeks, and it was, I guess, a little hard to catch up with, right?
yeah, exactly. And I guess a lot of exciting stuff. Just to give you a quick summary of what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about Wi-Fi 6E access points. We're going to talk about the beginning of Wi-Fi 7. We're going to talk about conferences going back. We're going to talk about bugs, drive people fixing bugs, I should say.
Yeah,
We're going to talk about acquisitions, the industry
yeah.
momentum. But
Partnerships, a
yeah,
whole lot of stuff. 5G
a whole bunch
even.
of stuff. um, right before we start, though, we posted out a survey at the end of last year asking you guys some feedback on the show. So we just wanted to thank you for taking the time to answer the questions. We got a lot of answers this year.
Yeah, we did.
Um, yeah, so it was very nice for us, and we do read all of your comments, so we can make the show better. So yeah, we just wanted to officially thank you guys for taking the time, and we took a look at the results, and we're going to try to implement some changes to make it better this year.
Yeah, and a lot of the different topics that people want to hear about and put that into the survey, we use that to help shape the future episodes of the podcast,
Mhm.
right? So if you haven't filled it out yet, you can actually go to cleartosend.net/survey and fill out, details there. We have at the very end, we have a comments section and anything else you want to tell us, and we read everything. And
Mhm.
we find the information and the comments that people leave, we really like them. We find ways to improve, things that we need to work on, and also the topics that we need to go back to, right? Like there's
Mhm.
maybe we've had a lot of advanced topics, but now we're going to introduce a little bit more of the beginner getting started topics.
And something else we need to announce, Roel, is the
What's
winner
that?
for our Juniper contest.
That's right. All right, so let me get the wheel of names going here.
So a couple of episodes back, do you remember the episode number? I
No.
I can't remember, but we did an episode on Juniper Mist certifications, and we actually had a voucher to give away. So here you can see the name of people who participated. So Roa is going to spin the wheel
Yeah. So you
to
guys know who's gonna win. We're not just whoever, right?
yeah, and that can be international, right? Because it's just a voucher, right?
Yeah. So
Ooh,
Stefan.
Stefan.
All right.
Wow. Special effects.
I know, that's great, right? So
Uh,
we'll send an email to Stefan and see if he still needs that voucher, but it's good till the end of the year. Again, so for those who are on the audio only, we're also recording this in video. So if you go to cleartosend.net/283, you'll find the video there. You could see the name of wheels. It's try to make it as fair as possible, right? So I just took everyone who entered. I think there's 25 people, and just randomly pick someone. So
yeah,
congratulations,
and
Stefan.
yeah, congrats, Stefan. And I was going to say we have more voucher to give coming up, especially CWNP vouchers. So keep on listening to the podcast, and we'll announce those contests in the future.
All right. Cool. So why don't we talk about all these APs that just came out, right?
Yeah, what's happened? A whole bunch of APs just dropped.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
just
so
like,
I
boom, beginning of the year. Here we go.
yeah, I guess with 6 gigahertz being being rolled out everywhere, vendors have been providing their own solution. So we've seen a lot of Wi-Fi 6E, 6 gigahertz compatible APs coming on the market in the last few weeks. I would say it's pretty recent,
Yeah.
right? Since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, a lot of them
Um,
were recent, but a lot of them came out last year as well. So
mhm.
now vendors are catching up.
Yeah, vendors are catching up. I think the first AP on the market was an AP from Aruba, a 630 series, and then since then, pretty much all major vendors nowadays have a 6 gigahertz access point: Cisco, Meraki, Mist, Arista, Aruba, Extreme, Cambium, you name them.
Yeah.
We're even talking with Ingenious, and they are coming up with their 6 gigahertz as well. So pretty much any vendor nowadays have their 6 gigahertz AP on the market or coming up very shortly.
Yeah, and there are
Um,
some that are very similar. There's different features amongst them, right? And the vendors that did come out or that we know of that have the 6 gigahertz APs, you got Cisco with the 9136, Meraki with the
mhm,
MR4057, sorry, and Mist. They got two of them, AP45 and AP34. Arista
mhm.
has the C360. Aruba also has two of them. They were really early on with their Wi-Fi 6E access point. The 630 was the one that came out first, and then the Aruba 650 recently announced. And then you have Cambium, the XE5-8, and also the Extreme Networks AP4000.
Yeah, so this is interesting. What looking at the data sheets, and we'll put all of the links in the show notes for you guys if you want to take a look at them. Um, but to me, what's kind of stands out is the PoE requirements, because they have
Yeah,
three radios, right? And so
right.
these guys will need
A lot of
PoE
power.
plus plus plus. I forgot the
Yeah.
name of it, but it will need a lot of power.
The extra PoE, and some APs have different requirements with that PoE. So maybe
Yeah,
with like the Cisco's, for example, you need to have the full power requirements. But with Aruba, they have man, the feature escapes me, but
yeah,
you don't need the full PoE. And the way that works is sometimes you lose a feature, right? Either you're not going to use the USB port that's on the access
yeah.
point, or maybe one of the radios isn't going to work.
Yeah, exactly. So even if to get full capacity on these APs, you'll need 802.3bt, I believe that's a standard. Most of them will still work if you have AT. They will just, like you said, disable a couple of things. The technology from Aruba you're referencing is the intelligence power management
Yeah.
feature,
Thank you.
which you
There
have
you
to.
go.
I think you have to turn it on. I don't think it's on by
Yeah.
default, but it's there so you can. The AP can it automatically knows what you use, what you don't use,
Yeah.
and then adjust. You can adjust how much power you're allocating to different, um, I guess, features or hardware
And, and
components.
and not only are these tri-radio APs, right? Meaning you could use the 2.4, the 5
Hmm.
gigahertz, the 6 gigahertz radio all simultaneously, or you can do like
Hmm.
dual 5 and a 6 gigahertz. But also these APs, not all of them, but most of these APs have two Ethernet ports that you could actually use simultaneously. Maybe have link aggregation because with Wi-Fi 6E, they're expecting us to go over 1 gigabit per
1 gig.
second, right? So you need,
Yeah.
not only do you need more PoE, you're going to need more ports. You're going to need M-gig
Multi gig,
ports
maybe.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
multi-gig ports on your switches. So there's a lot to consider beyond just the access point.
And I think a lot of people have been transitioning to multi gig switches in the last few months, I want to say.
Yeah,
I'm not too active in that segment, but I think
I
it's been like
I
vendors have
haven't
been
deployed I haven't deployed any M-gig switches at all.
okay. So, but I think in the future with coming up with these 6 gigahertz APs, like you said, we have three radios. It's actually the first time where I can see a practical application of having more than 1 gig of throughput on the uplink. So going multi-gig, can make sense. Or if you have multiple ports, like you said, and you could do link aggregation, then that can make sense as well to go that route.
Yeah.
But I think most of these APs have a multi-gig, like 2.5 gig ports, I believe, at least.
Yeah, at least, yeah,
Um,
2.5 and up to, I think it's up to 2.5. There's
okay.
some with 5 gig too, but it's just something to consider and test right before you do a mass rollout. There's so many new
Hmm.
things with these access points. You got the tri radio, the link aggregation, the M gig ports on the APs to your switches. A lot of planning, testing that you should do prior to rolling it out everywhere.
Yeah, I'm looking at the datasheet for the AP34 for Mist, and they're saying it's actually up to 5 gig on the Ethernet Zero. They only have one Ethernet port on this AP, from what I can see, but you can go up to 5 gig. So you could have multi-gig switches and be golden. Um, yeah.
Or at
So
least we think we
it
will.
yeah, like you said, we could test all of this. But it's pretty big change on the infrastructure as well. So we just have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Adding a radio has a lot of new applications of implications, I should say.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
really looking forward to the Aruba 6 gigahertz APs just because Aruba
mhm,
was really involved in the process of getting to where we are with 6 gigahertz. So I
mhm,
think they've really, played themselves up with 6 gigahertz. So I'm hoping to see a lot of traction there, and
mhm,
hopefully some testing pretty soon. Testing results from actual end users.
mhm. Yeah. Do you have any 6 gigahertz clients?
I ordered an adapter for my laptop.
Okay.
Hopefully, my laptop can use it. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, that would be my only 6 gigahertz client, and then maybe I'll get a phone that has 6 gigahertz capability.
I'm hoping to get a WLAN Pro, the new one at WLPC with 6 gigahertz radios, so I can
Oh, are they
use
coming out
that
with
as a
that
client.
at WLPC?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know when this will get published, but if it's after, people will know.
Speaking of WLPC, right? It's coming
yeah,
up.
it's coming up. Yeah, so uh, we are recording this on the 18th of February. WLPC starts. The bootcamp actually starts tomorrow, and then the conference starts on the 22nd, 23rd, 24th. It's happening in Phoenix, and it's the first, you know, live conference, I guess,
In-person
that
conference in two
in-person
years.
conference. Yeah, so it's a pretty exciting moment. I think everyone will be excited to get back together, and kind of socialize a little bit.
And you have
Um,
a presentation that you're doing too, right?
yes, I have a presentation. It's called "How to Really Get Started with Python."
Okay.
So yeah, I've been preparing it. I think it's good.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how people like it.
Yeah.
But
So check out that presentation, especially this is going to post after WLPC. But if you're listening or watching to this now, you can maybe go search for the video. Maybe they'll be live
Mhm,
at this point. And you've heard us talk about Python multiple times on this show. I think the
mhm,
previous episode was actually no 2 episodes ago was a Python episode about certifications, Python certifications. So if
mhm.
you're really interested in learning Python, you want a structured way to do it, go ahead and check that episode out, and then watch Francois's video on how to really get started.
Yeah, I try to give it like a method, but in a nice way, in a entertaining way, hopefully. And I'm happy because I'm the second one presenting on the
Oh,
first day,
nice.
so which means that I'll be
A lot of
done, and then
pressure.
I can just relax and
What
attend the other presentations. Yeah.
what are you looking most forward to at WLPC?
I think it's for this year. I think the most important would be just spending time, with people, socializing, um, and I think that will be the focus this year. On top of all of the content, the presentation and stuff, the socializing will be huge. I think. In terms
Yeah.
of the content, what I'm expecting from is I'm looking forward to hear about 6 gigahertz, maybe a little bit more people presenting about it, learning a little bit more about it. Um, Maybe learning about new tools like the WLAN Pros. I'm really excited to see, what they've been up to, and how they managed to solve the issues we had with the previous generations. And then I'm always willing or looking at learning new stuff. So that's the beauty of WLPC. Sometimes you have presentation from people we don't necessarily know that present different point of views. So I'm looking forward to a mixture of all of that, I guess.
Yeah. And WLPC may be the first in-person conference this year. There are other conferences happening also this
Hmm.
year. I know that Aruba Atmosphere is moving forward with an in-person conference over in Las Vegas. I think that is from March 27th to April 1st. It's also virtual, so it's a hybrid model there for the conference. They're doing both in person and virtual. And we have Cisco Live, which is happening June 12th through the 16th, also in Las Vegas. And I believe that one will be hybrid as well, virtual and in person.
Yeah. So which is good. This year we're starting to see more and more live events, not just in our industry, right? We'll also saw like
Yeah.
sports events, and they're starting to reopen and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So
it's all
it's
coming
good
back.
news.
I saw a conference at a hotel. I forgot where, and I was like, oh, they're already back. And this was like really early on this year, and
Hmm.
they were just it wasn't a lot of people. So I think slowly people are coming back to conferences. But I mean, if you've been to a sporting event, you're probably just okay with it, and you're ready to go. They're just trying to be safe, make sure. I think also these events, they don't want to be known as a super spreader event. So they're
Hmm.
pretty cautious about it. So they give you that virtual option. But even me, I'm looking forward to conferences as well. Miss that in-person aspect of really getting to talk to other people. That's where a lot of the learning happens, the discussions, because it's not just the presentations, because I could always watch the presentations afterwards. It's really
Hmm.
about meeting our peers, learning from them, and then just getting together.
And if you're presenting as well, it's also like a little personal challenge, right? Am
Yeah.
I going to do good? And you need to get ready, prepare for your presentation. So it's a nice it's a nice little challenge that you can put on yourself. And there's no judgment at WPC, so you don't feel like judged. So you can just, focus on your content and go out there, present, and people, they'll just like it. So everyone likes Wi-Fi over there. So if you're talking about Wi-Fi, you'll be good.
Right.
So this is the beauty of WLPC.
Yeah. Much
You
more
can also
niche
practice.
event. Yeah,
Yeah, you
so
can
for
practice.
those who maybe can't attend WLPC, I would suggest that you maybe participate on social media. So on Twitter, there's gonna be
Hmm.
a lot of people talking about WLPC there. You can participate there. Join our Slack. I'm sure people will talk about WLPC as it's happening in the Slack group. So if you go to cleartosend.net/join-slack, you can join us there. We have an events channel, and just be able to talk to people, maybe ask questions that someone could maybe ask for you
Hmm.
at WLPC. That's probably the best way to get started right now if you can't make it in person.
Yeah, and I'll try to relay some stuff on Twitter and Slack as I'm attend the presentations. I always like to have my laptop in front of me anyway, so I can take pictures and then relay that on the social medias. Oh, and I was going to say, it might not be the last conference for the year. They might have
For
another
WLPC?
WLPC in Europe. I'm hoping for.
Oh,
That would be a nice, because like you still have a lot of travel restrictions, and not
yeah.
everyone is able to go to the US as easily as people that already live in the US. So if we have another option in Europe at the end of the year, maybe that's going to give times for more and more countries to take down the restrictions and make it easier for everyone to travel and meet
Yeah,
in
that
a
would be
central
awesome.
location, I guess.
It
Yeah.
hopefully by then all travel restrictions are gone and I'll attend that
Hmm.
one.
Yeah. So, and we've heard of some people that wanted to attend not getting visas on time and stuff like this. So, everything is kind of like not as streamlined as usual. So, if we can have another chance to meet, that would be great. Um, and Europe it's like a different feel. It's nice as well. So, we'll see how it goes, but hopefully we can have another one this year.
All right. So this next bit of news is more about acquisitions, and Juniper is acquiring a NAC company, your network access control, right? And
Hmm.
they acquired WiteSand. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
WiteSand.
White sand without the H.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say WitSand, but it's a white sand, and what they're really trying to do is, I guess, provide more security and really create disruption in the NAC area, right? So I know from my past experience dealing with NAC, it was not easy. It was complicated, and there was a lot of like head scratching going on as to how to
Hmm.
deploy it.
Hmm. Hmm.
This is a cloud NAC solution, right? So it fits in nicely with Juniper's
Hmm. Yeah.
product line, and it's for what they say AI ops, right? So I'm really interested in how that'll tie into AI ops is uh, with Mist, especially in the dashboard. I think that's where they're going, right? Is to
Mhm.
implement it into their dashboard with their access point switches and their firewalls in there. So that'll be an interesting acquisition. What do you think, Francois?
Well, I think it was about time, because if you look on the market, you have Cisco, they have Cisco Prime, Cisco I, sorry, Aruba, they have ClearPass, Mist. They didn't have any NAC solution, but for them it doesn't. So they obviously right now they support integration with ICE and ClearPass, but for them, it totally makes sense to find a solution that's cloud based, so they can fully integrate it with the cloud and take advantage of APIs and the such. And I think people are more and more willing to have a NAC solution in the cloud nowadays. It doesn't scare anyone as it used to in the past. So I think it was just a matter of time before Juniper acquired the NAC company. The fact that it's you know um, a cloud company, an upcoming cloud company that I didn't really know. I didn't know about WiteSand before, but looking at it, it looks like a startup almost. So it looks like they're doing kind of the same thing as they did with Mist, acquiring a startup. Um, that's based on brand new technology, so they can integrate it into the cloud platform and fully take advantage of this. So you can actually do everything you need to do for the Wi-Fi in the cloud. You can do your configurations, so you can do your deployment, you can do your security. And now if they have this NAC solution talking to Mist, then they can get even more data into Marvis. And I mean, I see huge potential for this, for troubleshooting and all of this. So um, hopefully, I'm really excited to see what type of product they're going to come out with and how they can integrate that into Marvis. I'm not expecting it's going to happen overnight, but maybe in 1 year we'll see what happens. But I'm really excited to see what type of solution they're going to come up with, because I think it makes total sense to do everything in the cloud today.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm interested in is because it is in the cloud, we're going to get rid of these hardware appliances that you don't need to keep, right?
Hmm.
I think that is the
Hmm.
biggest advantage that they're coming here with. And then you have, since it's in the cloud, you have these updates that they can apply automatically, right? You're not going to have to worry about, all right, am I going to break this box because of an update I'm going
Update
to
Cisco
apply?
ICE.
Yeah, yeah, right. And
Who
it's
wants to update the
complicated.
Cisco ICE? Yeah, yeah.
So,
No one
and then
will.
it's also very tightly integrated with the dashboard. And so
Hmm.
that's what I'm expecting. This really tight integration into a whole suite of applications that they're bringing together, right? You've got your Wi-Fi, you've got your switching, the firewalls, and then you can't forget the SD-WAN portion. And so
Hmm.
they're going to apply all of that into the dashboard. That's what I would expect to see. And with NAC, it really rounds it out, and then it competes with your two big ones, Aruba ClearPass and Cisco ICE.
Yeah, and because it's in the cloud, I can see them implementing integrations with, something like Azure or Google Suites, so they can actually, interconnect with those user databases that more and more people use in the cloud to do the authentication. So, it's gonna it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and we'll see that integration, I believe, with the policies that you see in Mist. So you'll be
Mhm.
able to tie that back to NAC, and then maybe we'll see a lot of automation happening there, more insight into why it's not working, right? Maybe it's a security policy that's being applied by NAC, or maybe we'll simplify onboarding on some WLANs, right? Maybe we have one SSID and everyone just joins that one, but with NAC you can do the posturing and put people in
Mhm.
the right VLAN and secure those different subnets on a single SSID.
One challenge is with NAC system is to try to keep it simple, right? Because it can become really complex really fast. So I'm excited to see how they can implement that, and don't make the dashboard look overwhelming. You know what I mean? Um, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge is how do we as network operators and engineers, how are we going to configure it and understand it so that
Hmm.
we implement it properly?
Hmm.
But Juniper can help with that. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
they're a great company. They've got a lot of good people there, so we'll see how that integrates. But in addition to that, Juniper is partnering also with Cradlepoint to give us 5G, right? 5G is pretty big right now. We've seen these larger companies start implementing some 5G solutions, right? It's part of the, I guess, the wireless portfolio, and
Hmm.
5G is a still a big trend, but it's just a different medium in which it has different use cases, and so Juniper is trying to, from what I see, try to compete with like Cisco, for example, because Cisco's got their 5G offering and pipeline. I guess they have something in place where they can provide 5G to their customers. And now what Juniper is doing is just partnering with someone who's got the 5G technology already.
Hmm.
What do you think,
Juniper again,
Francois?
huh?
Yeah, Juniper's making big
Yeah.
waves here.
Yeah. Um, well, that's great. I'm guessing they want to provide options to some of their customers, and still be able to use their switches and missed access points on the other end. So I mean, it makes sense. If they do it, it's probably because they have a need from their customers, and that Juniper is getting more and more enterprise customers. Right? It used to be like a service provider type of focused company. Now, since the acquisition of Mist, and they all Mist AI branding, they're attracting more and more enterprise customers. And that's why
Yep.
we're talking more and more about it on the podcast, is because more and more people are actually getting Mist and Juniper, not just for the Wi-Fi, but also for the switches nowadays.
hmm and I'd be interested to see how they can put Cradlepoint into their dashboard as well. I'm sure there's some sort of
Hmm.
APIs integration that they're doing, and you'll be able to see what your 5G connection looks like on the dashboard and be able to see that in the client journey, right, of how that experience looks like.
I also wonder what it looks like in terms of hardware. Like, is it just do they just add a Cradle Point, gateway and just connect it to the firewall, or do they try to integrate the two into one hardware box? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's still so early for that, but
Hmm.
those are some of the things that we're thinking about is, yeah, maybe put that in front of the firewall, or maybe it replaces the firewall. I don't know.
Hmm.
We can see hopefully within another 6 months what that would look like.
It would be nice. You could have like automatic failover between your typical uplink, one link, and 5G if you lose your one link and stuff like that, right? It
Yeah, to
makes
be able
sense.
to see that and maybe tie that into their whole SD-WAN as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
But speaking of 5G, there's some other 5G news as well. Might as well talk about
Yeah.
that.
The private 5G, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
private 5G
So
space.
yeah, private 5G, what in the US they call CBRS, right? People are familiar with CBRS. In the rest of the world, they call it private 5G, I guess, or private LTE, maybe. Um, yeah, so we have, so Amazon is getting in the game,
Yep.
which is
Yeah, they
interesting,
made a big
right?
announcement. Yeah. And I
Uh,
wonder, I guess they would make it more simple for people to start 5G. And I thought that was interesting that they would get into that space because I wasn't expecting that at all.
yeah, I wasn't expecting AWS private 5G either. Um, but I think it could be nice for the industry, right? Because the vendors, they're starting to look at that. Like, hey, okay, this guy is not used to be doing any sort of service providing or networking before, or telecommunications. Now they're getting into the game. what does it mean for us? And then you see on the other end, you see Facebook. They have don't they have like an internet service system they're trying to set up? And then you have Starlink. I think
Yeah.
Starlink is it from Tesla or
Tesla, yeah, or
yeah,
from Elon Musk, yeah.
yeah, Elon Musk. So you see all of these big companies trying to come up with telecommunication services. So I think it's good for the industry. Hopefully, it's for the it can generate some innovations and disrupt some things. I guess it's always good to have competition for
Yeah,
innovation.
for
So
sure. And I just think
so
with Amazon doing this, it helps brings it more mainstream, right? There's so many people using Amazon AWS that they may look at this and go and start looking to see if private 5G would be a solution for them, right? And
mhm,
because of this, it now puts maybe pressure on us as Wi-Fi engineers because this is a wireless type of technology. Then now we should be knowledgeable in how to deploy private 5G. And there are education programs and certifications around CBRS that we maybe should be looking
mhm,
into. I know Google has CBRS training, which you can get certified on. CommScope also has that. And I think we're just going to maybe start seeing this inch its way in with some specific use cases. But with Amazon AWS, I think they're bringing the simplicity of deploying it, right? And it's not just CBRS. We're talking about like 4G, LTE, 5G, private 5G encompasses a lot of different
mhm,
technologies. It's not just one, but their use cases that they're putting up on their webpage is running smart manufacturing facilities, running your really critical applications on private 5G, and also doing campus connectivity, right? So to
mhm.
support like video communication, security, and logistics. So we may see this start popping up and start seeing real use cases pretty soon.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think the complexity for us coming from the Wi-Fi with private 5G is how do we deal with the frequencies, and yeah, it might be a little bit more complex. It seems a little bit more complex to deploy, but then we've seen in the past. Remember when Silona came on and they did the demo in like 2 minutes, everything was set up. It's like wow. So if you have providers like Silona or AWS that can help you to kind of get it set up in an easy manner, it's great. And then you can use that like you said for very specific applications if you need more reliability or if you need more coverage outdoors. So you could actually add some private 5G on top of your Wi-Fi. The only drawbacks with private 5G and CBRS is that you need a SIM device, right? Or eSIM device. So it's not like it's every devices that connects to Wi-Fi today can just be switched over to CBRS, right? That would be nice. But so I think what we're going to see maybe is in some very specific environment, we're going to see some sort of overlay network maybe for different applications, or like on the campus for outdoor maybe. Makes sense.
Yeah. And
Um,
Cisco's also doing the same thing where they're providing private 5G. It's not, I don't think it's their own solution. I think they're using somebody else. There is an article that talks about their entry into private 5G and them having a distribution channel for it. And they're partnering with someone, and someone's this, the person who wrote this, Michael Finneran, has
mhm.
a, is guessing who that partner is. Do you know who would that partner be, Francois?
Yeah, because I read the article. So, but yeah, you're thinking about Silona, right?
Yeah, that's why I bring it up. Is Solona's been in this space for so long. We've heard a lot about them. They're probably going to be at
Mhm,
WLPC. They've been at the previous WLPC, so they've already got things rolling with private 5G. So it kind of makes sense for Cisco to maybe partner up with them, start providing 5G solutions to their customers. They have some pretty big customers, and I don't know,
mhm.
maybe they'll. Every time I see these partnerships, I think maybe they're going to acquire that company, right? To really round out the solution.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Time will tell. Yeah, time will tell. I don't know what to think about that, but yeah, we'll see, I guess.
I mean, I'd like to see Solana stand out on its own and not
Yeah, me too,
be
but
part of a big company, but you know, Silicon Valley says otherwise, and it's all about acquisitions out there.
hmm yeah, I guess it
All
depends
right.
how big the check is, maybe.
Yeah, who knows what those numbers look like? All right,
Yeah.
let's talk about something else other than 5G.
Yeah. Um, okay, let's talk about Metageek,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they announced,
Metageek has an agent. What is this, Francois?
yeah, they announced, so they have the Signify agent. I think that's how they say it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think it's
Um,
signified too.
Signify client. So it's an agent you install on computers to kind of get a sense of how their network connection is doing, including Wi-Fi. And they've been working on the macOS version for a little while. It was in the beta phase, but recently they published it they took it out of beta, so it's now available as a brand new application for macOS, which is great because apparently a lot of people have been asking for these tools. Metageek was also notorious for only doing Windows, remember? And then when we're asking them, they're like, "Yeah, but our customers are telling us that they use Windows, so we focus on Windows." So
Yeah.
it's kind of like their way of getting into the Mac OS market, I guess.
Well, I think they'll
Uh,
also have a lot more install base that way, rather than just being Windows only. So hopefully that
mhm,
opens up their other applications to Mac as well, because the agent looks really nice. It's a way to really look at the quality of your Wi-Fi. They've got different pricings and plans. So there is a plan for us or personal use, right? If you just want to have that on your
mhm.
computer, you get to see your Wi-Fi statistics and be able to see figure out like what to do if something's wrong, right? And then there's the business plan for for maybe the IT guy who wants to install this agent on all the computers, be able to track stats for them and really understand even remotely what's happening to a Wi-Fi network, right? Because you can troubleshoot with the user, but maybe they're at home, so you can tell the user, all right, here's what's wrong with your home Wi-Fi,
Mhm.
right? And then you have enterprise if you want to deploy for much larger organization, over 500 users. So they really set this up for every kind of user, remote employees who need to work with remote workers, be able
Mhm.
to understand how to troubleshoot when you need those Wi-Fi statistics.
Yeah, have you tried it, the Signify application?
I haven't yet. It's on my list to test it out because it does look interesting. I think there's a lot of good use cases for it, especially
Mhm.
when you're trying to grab a lot of this information. The user doesn't know what you're talking about, but
Mhm.
it gives you a summary of, all right, what is the signal on the computer, what are the I guess the data rates between your computer and your access point, and then even looking at the speed of your internet. So it kind of looks at everything there. It's not just your Wi-Fi connection, because for a lot of people
Mhm.
it's really not the Wi-Fi, it could be something else. And
Yeah.
who knows what else they could add to this agent as well, because they give you they give you step by step fixes, so they can tell
Mhm.
you, it's low signal. So here's something that you should do to resolve the low signal.
It's nice. I think it's very nice for people working from home as well, because you've been supporting, right, people working from home in your job, and it's not always easy to get visibility on their home Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But this application can give you a little bit more visibility and idea of what to do.
Yeah, and
Nice.
if you want to try it out, they do have a trial. So if you
Hmm.
go to metageek.com, just look for Signify. There's a trial that you can download it and try it out for yourself.
Awesome. So do you want to talk about Wi-Fi 7? Should we talk about Wi-Fi 6 first?
Yeah, let's skip over Wi-Fi 6 and just go to Wi-Fi 7. Right? There's news about Wi-Fi 7. I
Mhm.
don't know. It's coming up, but I don't know. actually, before we get to Wi-Fi 7,
Yeah.
yeah, let's talk about Wi-Fi 6. You guys
Yeah.
can
So
download the document.
yeah, the standard 802.11ax-2021 is now free to download. So we passed I think it's 6 months delay. So now you can just get it for free, download it if you have an account on the IEEE website. We'll put a
Yep.
link in the show notes so you guys can download it and take a look at it. And also related to Wi-Fi 6 and AX, Intel has released some patches for some of the Wi-Fi drivers. We can fixes a few things. I think most of them are focused on security. But Intel drivers are pretty much everywhere in laptops, like Windows laptops. So if you're supporting a large network, or if your customers have a Windows laptops, there's a good chance they have an Intel Wi-Fi
Yep.
chipset in them. So take a look at that closely.
And sometimes they fix
If you,
actual Wi-Fi issues.
Mhm. Yeah. Sometimes Wi-Fi doesn't work. You update the driver, Wi-Fi works. You know,
And, and
which
when you guys are
is, yeah,
done reading the 802.11ax standard, by the time you're done, then we'll be in Wi-Fi 7.
yeah, exactly. We've been Wi-Fi 7 because chipset manufacturers are already working on the new stuff. So we've been seeing communications from Broadcom, Qualcomm. I guess they have teams working on the new standards, and we've also seen communications from the IEEE. So
Yeah.
there's this document that details the current status of 802.11be, which is the standard that will be used for Wi-Fi 7, and they go over some of the features that they would like to implement. They're telling us it's very early stages as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So
Um,
early that they're still taking in feature requests from all the members
mhm,
of IEEE, right? So I think there in the document from IEEE, there are features that for sure they're going to have. They're just I guess the working group is still trying to figure out what else they want to add, right? They're going to
mhm.
discuss those. But
Yeah,
I
and
mean, we
it's
should have an episode on Wi-Fi 7 and what to expect.
Yeah, I think they have a couple of features that could really benefit us or benefit Wi-Fi overall. Maybe better take advantage of the new frequency band. Is multi-user MIMO going to work? Um, you know, I don't have a lot of faith into that, but
No,
they're working on a couple of features that could
you don't
actually,
have faith in
like,
MU MIMO? The MU
uh,
MIMO with 16 spatial streams, Francois?
yeah,
Bigger.
I want to see it working, and
uh,
yeah, I mean, MIMO is a
yeah.
great technology. When it came with 11N, it's like, okay, that was a revolution.
I
Multi-user
know
MIMO.
you're gonna mention your favorite features that you saw from Wi-Fi 7, but I'm just gonna before you talk about that, I'm gonna just say it's probably gonna require MU MIMO.
Yeah, maybe.
So there were two things that you or one or two features that you mentioned to me before we started recording, and I think they're interesting. So I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, the one that I could potentially see a lot of good things coming for us is the multi-link operation. So you can actually have communications on different channels, maybe on different frequency band. So as we're getting more channels, 5 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz, we could leverage all of these to do kind of full duplex communications on different
Yep.
channels, which
I
could
think,
be
yeah,
nice.
that
Yeah,
would be really nice. I can just see the marketing going crazy on this now because for sure they're going to say, all right, this laptop and this device is multi-link capable. You're going to get 20 gigabits, 20
yeah,
gigabit per second bandwidth on this thing. But it reminds me of
and
like point-to-point networks where they do some of them use different frequencies for transmissions to get that full
yeah,
duplex.
different radios. Yeah,
So this
yeah.
would
So it
be similar, right?
Yeah, it will be similar. So I guess that's, one feature I'd like to learn more about it, read more about it, and see if it can actually be applicable in what we do. They also have other features where, they're always pushing the technology even more, like the 4K QAM or the 320 megahertz wide channels. Um, I'm not too sure about these. Maybe on 6 gigahertz, we're going to start to use 80 megahertz, maybe 160 megahertz wide
Yeah,
channels for people living in countries where you have access to 1200 megahertz. So
yeah.
most of the American
They,
countries,
you didn't
north
even
and
mention
south.
it, but they want to push it to 320 megahertz, Francois. You didn't
Yeah,
mention
320. Yeah. 320, I'm not sure. Like, if you look at 6 gigahertz in Europe, for instance, they only get Uni 5, so it's like 500 megahertz worth of
that.
spectrum. Like, how you have one 320 megahertz
Yeah,
wide
yeah,
channel? It's like,
one channel.
thank you guys, but no, thank you.
The other
So
feature that I thought was cool was the multi AP. Did you see that one?
no, I didn't see the multi AP.
Yeah. So multi AP, and I'm looking forward to reading how this would work. Is your device could be communicating with two APs, or maybe even more than two APs at a time, in order
Mm,
to get its traffic.
interesting. Yeah, I
So we'll
wonder how
see
would
how
that
that
work.
goes.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll keep our eye on the working group, the future of Wi-Fi 7, how that
Mhm.
compares to Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E. Maybe we should use Wi-Fi 6 first, um,
We
before
can
we
try,
start the
yeah.
7. Yeah, maybe Wi-Fi 6 will be something that we go just make a pit stop and then go to Wi-Fi 7.
Well, we'll see. Like right now, most people that deploy new APs today, they'll try to take advantage of 6 gigahertz actually and do
Yeah.
6E.
Yeah, we'll do the
Um,
6E. I mean, it still uses 6, right? We just got the 6 gigahertz. That's
mhm,
where, I mean, we'll see our biggest benefits is the additional frequency, um, larger channel widths. So maybe we
mhm.
will, if we see the big boost there, maybe we will see a much better improvement with Wi-Fi 7 because it's going to
Mhm.
be all about speed, is what it looks like.
Yeah, they're going back to all about speed. They did a break with Wi-Fi 6. It was all about efficiency, and now they're going
Yeah.
back to okay.
They're like,
We're
okay,
going back
we're
to
done being efficient. Let's go for full bandwidth.
well, with efficiency comes more speed too, right? So you could see it from different angles, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It'll be interesting.
but
It'll
so
be like 11N back in the day, right? When 11N came out, we went to like much more higher speeds. And so this
yeah.
is how I see Wi-Fi 7 is like with 802.11ax, we're like, okay, we got that efficiency. Let's use it. Now let's
Mhm.
give it a big boost.
And if we look at the timeline, they are thinking of releasing draft number 2 in about a month. Sorry, yeah, I'm looking at the right date. Yeah, draft 2 in about a month, and then the final amendment is supposed to is scheduled for May of 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see
Uh,
this get all pushed out.
yeah, exactly. So
And just looking at the 11AX stand, how long did
yeah,
that take? The
it
original
took maybe
timeline, I
one
think,
year.
was last year,
Yeah,
right? Like
I think
January
it took an extra year
2021.
at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe 2025 we will see Wi-Fi 7, and by the time that comes out, we'll be talking about Wi-Fi 8.
Hmm. Or 7X Pro, whatever new name they find for us.
Yeah, 7E.
7 Pro Max. That's how it's
7
gonna
Pro
go.
Max. Yeah, you're gonna have the different tiers. So we have the Wi-Fi 7, then in a few months we'll have the Wi-Fi 7 Mini, and then all right. Are there what else do we have to talk about here? Maybe we'll go back and to talk about what we currently have,
Hmm.
which is 5 gigahertz channels. But there was I guess a new band that we could use.
I think that's US specific, right?
Yeah, this one's from the FCC.
Hmm.
I mean, this is a long time ago. So this is an article from David Coleman over on the Extreme Networks blog, and he kind of goes back and to talk about how we got to this point with 5 gigahertz. And in 2013, that's when they released the uni bands, but now there's a new uni band to where they're gonna let us use some of these channels, but I mean, there's still some rules that are applied to it. But I guess the big question for me, it's about three or the three channels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
75
three.
megahertz. Yeah.
Yeah, three 20 megahertz channels, right? So that'll.
Hmm.
The question is, that's great. Can we turn that on via software update, firmware update, or do we need new hardware? I'm guessing it's just a firmware update.
Yeah, because you're still into the 6 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, sorry,
Yeah, you're sub 6
5 gigahertz.
gigahertz. Yeah.
You so probably the radios and the antennas you have will probably work for these channels. Um, and it's 3 additional channels. I don't know how they're going to make it work. Hopefully we can enable it and get access to them. That would be great. The only problem is, will the client devices support them? Because
Yeah.
that's one issue we had. If I talk about France, for instance, they recently enabled Uni 3, which is great. You can use Uni 3, but some older clients don't support it. So, you have to be very careful before you enable it to know, you have to inspect your clients, make sure that they are supported. And if they don't, you have to be careful of where you use it, or if you want to use it at all. So I think the same challenge will arrive here, but at the same time, you have 6 gigahertz as
Yeah.
well, right? Um,
So we might
so
not even use this, right? Or there might not be a focus to enable these three channels, the 75
yeah.
megahertz. And there's still guidelines. Like this was really the guidelines from the FCC was released back in September of 2021 of how Wi-Fi devices can use it. I think you still have to be certified. You have to get certified to use it unless I didn't go back to look at some of the devices to see if they were certified all the way up to 5.925 gigahertz. I think that would be the question. If they were already certified for up to that frequency, then they could allow that via a firmware update to use those channels. But if not, then I think vendors and device manufacturers would have to go back for recertification just for those three channels.
This this could be a nice option maybe for like point to point or point to multi-point. Like if you're thinking about outdoor networks and you already have some sort of like on a campus, you already have some sort of outdoor network on 5 gigahertz, but then you need a point to point link. You could use those channels with
I think
two
FCC
devices that
is
can
only
support.
allowing this for indoor.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, I think
Point to
I have to
You
go
don't do
through.
point to point indoors. Those big
Hey,
buildings.
there could be a use case for it. Don't give people ideas. But there's guidelines from the FCC. So this is called the Uni 4 band. And so we'll link it to David Coleman's post. I think it's a good read. And then we'll link also to the FCC document, which talks about devices operating in the 5.9 gigahertz. So it's 5.850 to 5.895 gigahertz band, but then they give it a short title of 5.9. I guess they rounded it up. But there's in the introduction of that document, it does say Uni 4 band, indoor only.
Yeah.
So
And it's right before 6 gigahertz, right?
Yeah, like right before it. So yeah, maybe with the access points we're getting today, right? I'm sure a lot of people are now purchasing 6 gigahertz or will be purchasing 6 gigahertz access points as soon as they're available if you're in that upgrade cycle. So this might not mean anything to you, especially once 6 gigahertz devices are out. You'd rather use all those additional channels in 6 gigahertz than these 3 channels. But hey, I'll take any available channel. The more channels, the better, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a lot of exciting
That's
stuff.
a lot of news. Yeah.
Yeah. We probably forgot a whole bunch of stuff too.
Yeah, these are
Um,
just the things that we gather and put into our Slack channel and the announcements channel. So if you're a part of our Slack group, feel free to put any news you find into that channel. There was someone who posted one today, right before we recorded, talking about Wi-Fi 7, which is
mhm,
that the same one we were looking at. But we're a lot of good things coming to Wi-Fi. I mean, a lot of good
mhm,
press. We'll see how that turns out as we get to test it. Right, it's a lot of chatter about what could happen,
mhm,
but with a lot of this news, we need to see how it actually integrates and works with some real use cases.
mhm. Exactly.
All right, that's our news episode. A lot of news. So if you guys have any questions, head over to the show notes, cleartosend.net/283. We also will have this video up on our YouTube if you want to see our faces. Uh, but curious what you guys think about the news. Are you going to skip over 6E and go to Wi-Fi 7? Let us know.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you
Bye
guys.
bye.
We appreciate you listening to the episode. Have a good one.
Bye bye.